Good afternoon, everybody. Colin Livingston here. Welcome to Talkin Torque. Happy to be back at home. Kind of tumultuous last couple of weeks. Was obviously in Sonoma last week. Thanks to my buddy Alex Tagliani for joining us. Great to catch up and finally be able to share the plans for this year of our racing season. Not quite what we had in mind with reduced Pinty schedule, but really glad to be adding the Fanatec World or GT World Challenge to the mix. Was great to be able to broadcast first real remote, whatever it was 2-3 weeks ago. Got to do this show from the Westworld studios. We had planned to be there tonight. They had a small unexpected issue pop up, so I will try and get back there in the next week or two. Thanks to Daryl for always accommodating, and really looking forward to getting back there. I mean, their setup is just awesome. But tonight, this is going to be pretty cool. I don't know what's going to happen. We've got a good friend of ours. We've known Ryan for a bunch of years through the world of racing. Got to see his performance a few years ago that he did for us at the race shop for our Christmas party. Really, really, really cool. And I hope, somewhere along the way, I want to get one or two volunteers. What Ryan does is something called Mentalism. We're going to jump into it. We're going to find out what Mentalism is. Is it actually magic? Is it actually illusion? What's going on? But because we know each other, I'm going to disclose that, we're friends outside of racing. Absolutely nothing that we're going to talk about tonight has been planned. Absolutely nothing is set up. And hopefully we can get a couple of volunteers to just jump in who have never spoken to Ryan. He's never spoken to them. And we can do his I don't want to say his magic because that kind of underplays it, but we can show kind of what he's all about and show a skill set here. Let me bring in Mr. Ryan Edwards. How you doing, man?
Not bad. How about yourself?
You know what? I don't have an awful lot to complain about here. I'm glad to be back at home. Like I said, I'm quite comfy in my office. I got a few beverages here. I'm going to be smart enough to turn off my phone just in case we get an after hours phone call. So a couple of things, because it's been a while. I think the last time I saw you, correct me if I'm wrong, was at Osweekend. Did we see that?
Yeah. I was gonna say I was at Osweekend this past year. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a while. How's Levi?
He's fantastic. Actually, he's sick today a little bit. He was running a fever earlier today, and so he's already in bed. But yeah, going on almost 20 months.
I was gonna say he's got to be like almost like I was gonna say 1.5 years, pushing 2 years. I'm not great at keeping track of that.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, so walking and talking and getting into lots of trouble. So
well, the nice thing about being a mentalist is you always know what he's going to do next, right?
That's it. I'm usually pretty good. So.
And how's Anya?
Anya's doing awesome. She actually just started a new job, working way closer to home, so that's super nice. She's like 2 minutes from the house now, so.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it makes things way easier. Before she was driving like 40 minutes or something like that, and so it's a lot of time on the road, mornings and nights and stuff. And so now she's 2 minutes from the house, so it's awesome.
Super cool. Yeah. Now, so obviously we're gonna jump into your mentalism career, but what I found really interesting is I try and do a little bit of research. I try and dig around on your social medias. Before Mentalist, you list yourself as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, 100%. I'm all about business, and like people ask me, what books on mentalism should I read, or what books on this should I read, and I go, oh, I don't read any books on mentalism. And they're like, what? And I go, oh yeah, no, I did that when I was younger, and now I only read business books because I want to make myself better, and then make others better around me. So I am always thinking of the next venture. I own a magic company as well that makes products for magicians all over the world.
Okay.
But yeah, so entrepreneur first, mentalist second.
Now, I don't have any examples here, but I follow you on various socials, and I've got to ask because I've never actually asked this. When hopefully, we're gonna have a bunch of people watching. People will subsequently see this online, down the road. What is the deal with celebrities eating, and why do you post pictures?
Oh, well, I got that ready to show you tonight. So
Oh, is
yeah,
that right?
can't can't tell you.
Okay, well, we'll save that for later. It's just I didn't associate that with what you do, in your act. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah,
it's
no,
uh, it's a nice quick one. So I like to throw it
okay.
in every once in a while, and yeah. So
Okay, so I'm going to ask you how to define mentalism, but first, I kind of took couple of stock definitions. I should have probably cut them in so they can show up on the screen, but I'll just read what I've got, and you can tweak it and adjust it so people can get an idea of what you're expecting. So
sounds good.
mentalists use clairvoyance, telepathy, memory, mathematics, and hypnosis to perform their illusions. A magician will typically make things appear, change, and disappear, while a mentalist will use mentalism and reveal predictions and read minds. So that was one.
Okay.
I think this is a little bit more. I can't remember, is this one or the next one. Mentalism is a specialized type of magic that allows magicians to perform tricks without any physical props. And I don't think that that's true because there's always like write a thing down on a piece of paper, or there's other
Yeah,
things that happen.
you could do mentalism though with nothing as well.
Yeah.
So I would say that is technically right.
And then here's I think this is the one until it gets to the last phrasing that maybe is a little bit too personal. Mentalists use a combination of psychology, magic tricks, neurolinguistic programming, sleight of hand, showmanship, and pseudo psychology. That one I kind of thought might push a button, and I don't
Yeah.
mean to
No, no,
talk
not at
about,
all.
but
Not at all. It's all good. So I mean, yeah, they're all pretty good definitions, I guess. There's some things that vaguely go around what mentalism is. I'll put it that there's a famous mentalist still performing today that kind of coined the phrase, and I think almost every mentalist has used it since then. Is that what I do? What most people do on a daily basis is they use 1 to 3 senses at the same time. What I do is combine all 5 senses to create what looks like a sixth sense. So I always explain that it's psychology, math, science, magic, art, all these things combined to create what is mentalism. So yeah, it's a psychological illusion.
so then as a kid or as a adolescent or young adult, was it your ambition to become a mentalist, or did you start with like a lot of us, we start with, you get a magic book, you learn a little bit of sleight of hand and kind of get to see what's happening behind the cards or under the nutshells or whatever it is. How did you get down, or what was the road you took to get to where you're at?
Yeah, it's interesting. So actually, when I got married a couple of years ago, all of my groomsmen were kind of took me on a different path along my. Well, I don't want to say how old I am. Over 30 years.
Well,
On
I
this,
just hit 50, so don't
I'm
don't
getting there.
be too sensitive.
You have way more hair than I do, though, so you're good. Uh,
At least on my head. I don't know
yeah,
about anything else.
my brain is getting too big. It's pushing the hair out. That's the problem. But so they were all really key factors of my life becoming a mentalist now. So my neighbor had a magic kit when we were kids before I did, and then so we learned stuff from his magic kit and showed his parents and showed my parents, and then I got into it. And then it faded away. I always loved magic. I always watched, the David Copperfield specials and stuff. But I was able to, at like 12 years old, tell you how everything was done on the specials and stuff. And I went and seen shows, and I could tell my parents, "Oh yeah, this is easy. This is how it's done." And so my brain always worked that way.
Okay.
And then when I was like probably 13, one of my other groomsmen, he showed me my first like really good card trick that was really fooling, and then I just went. crazy learning card tricks. And then the next guy was a writer that helps me write now, and another guy was from a camp where we taught kids magic and mentalism and stuff. And then I had a TV producer who gave me my first kind of real good shot. I hosted a music show where I did street magic and mentalism in between.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and so it was kind of a cool, like, once I actually sat back and looked, I was like, wow, all of these people have such a key role in my life, getting me where I am now. And so,
So, did you ever watch the TV show House?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so there one of my favorite episodes is a magician who starts by getting dunked into a water tank, having to get his way out, but the second he hits the water, he starts bleeding out of his nose, and there's a whole sequence of events that go on. House, as an avid reader, he knew about sleight of hand and he could figure out most of the tricks,
yeah,
but there was this struggle between him and the patient trying to figure out, is it better to know how the magic is done or better to be,
to enjoy
to,
it.
to just enjoy it.
Yeah,
Where, I mean, I'm not going to ask you how you do any of the stuff that you're doing, but in the world of magic, the world of mentalism, illusion, whatever you want to, identify as, there's kind of there's two schools of thought, and you've got guys like Penn and Teller who have made more of their career by, you know, their TV show bullshit, showing out, showing how these things happen, or their
yeah.
own act, showing the illusion and then explaining it afterwards. Where do you stand in which has got to be kind of a long running debate between performers as to what the best way to do things is?
Yeah, definitely. And it's really come to a head the last few years, obviously, with social media, because it's really easy to get clickbait when you say, I'm going to teach this, or I'm going to show you this, or learn how to read minds, or something like that. I always explain to people that I've been doing this for almost 25 years, just mentalism, really. I don't do magic anymore, per se. I still dabble with cards and stuff. I still like doing sleight of hand and stuff, but in my show, I'm not using those techniques and stuff. And so, but it's been a really big strong point where I would say the older generation in magic or mentalism, when there wasn't the internet, it took them years to learn something because they had to fly somewhere and, get that person that came up with the technique or whatever to divulge the secret. And so a lot of times it was kind of proving yourself before you could learn that secret. And now, I do shows all the time and people are like, I'm going to hop on YouTube tonight and figure this out. And I'm like, that's great, because nothing I do is on YouTube because I'm not an amateur anymore.
Right.
And so in my stage shows anyways and stuff, it's all, we created it. And so it's not out there for people to learn.
Now, at some point along the way, you must have aligned with a mentor, somebody, yeah, you can figure out how the illusions happen, but you still need someone to show you technique. Maybe you have the dexterity that you can do all these things naturally, but like you said, you read magic books, but somewhere, like, did you have a mentor that kind of walked you along or helped you out?
Yeah. So I guess when I was in university, I reached out to a guy who was an illusionist, and I worked with him. I asked him if I could do a free internship. I was like, can I come on the road with you and just learn the behind the scenes stuff? Because I, at that point, thought I was going to do magic, and I was going to become an illusionist, and I was ready to buy all these big stage illusions. And so he said, yeah. And so I went on the road with him and learned that I hated it. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Why?
We carried 23,000 pounds of equipment to every show. So that's a cube van, a big cube van. That's like 5 or 6 people on staff to put on a show. And well, Colin, you've seen me come into a place with like a backpack and do
Yeah.
an hour and a half or hour long show and blow everyone's mind. And I just said, I don't want to have to rely on anyone else when I perform. So I don't need an assistant and stuff. Now, when I do big theater shows, yeah, I still bring, a stagehand and stuff to help set the stage and everything, because just makes life easier. But for most corporate events and stuff, it's just me walking into the
Yeah.
building and going like, okay, like I've got a couple envelopes, I've got a pad of paper, like I'm ready to go. And so to me, that was the greatest thing. And I thought that, magic, if we went back to when Houdini was around and stuff, and there was people doing like the psychic readings and stuff like that, and the seances and stuff, and he debunked all those things. I was like, back then, when a woman got cut in half on stage, it was real. Like that magician had powers that no one else in the audience had. Now you see a woman get cut in half on stage and you go, oh, okay, that's a cool trick. You don't call the police and go like, oh my gosh, I just
Yeah,
saw someone get
I
murdered.
just saw an assault.
Yeah. But when I read your mind, even if I tell you that it's all psychology, it's all practice, anyone can do this, it just takes time to learn how to do it, people leave going, no, no, there's something different about you. And so to me, that was the closest that I could make what I do feel as real as possible. And I thought that's how it was a couple hundred years ago. And so that's what I want to do going forward.
Now, what did you study when you were in university?
I took religion and theology.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, I took business in college and then dropped out of business because I said, I had met a guy who owned a business, and he said to me, you should go to school tomorrow and ask your teachers what successful businesses they run. And I thought about it that night and I said, dang, that's a really, really good question. Because I'm taking advice from these people that I think are experts, as teachers, that they should have at least run successful businesses. So I went to every one of them and asked them the next day, and all of them said to me, well, I don't, I'm a teacher. And so I said, well, you're all then just teaching me what a textbook says that you read. You have no experience doing that. And we all know that textbooks are already outdated by the time they come out because the algorithm on Instagram is already outdated from last week, right? And so I said, I'm out of here. This is really dumb.
So
So
that friend of yours showed you how the trick was done.
yeah,
Took the
exactly.
magic
He
out of
showed me
everything
behind
and
the curtain and was like, he goes, you need a business mentor, someone that you can like follow and watch and ask questions to and stuff. But that teacher at school is not going to be it.
yeah.
And so, yeah.
So then, okay, so how did religion and theology play in?
Yeah, so I attend church on Sundays, and we had a new pastor that came in, and he asked. I was already helping with the youth group at the church, and he asked the youth pastor to resign, and he just didn't work well with him, I guess. And the pastor really liked me and was like, "Hey, I think what you're doing is really great, and you connect with the kids on like with your messages and stuff," and was like asked me if I would take over. And so the hard thing was my friend was the youth pastor. And so I was one of his groomsmen. And so I asked him, and he said, yeah, run with it. And so I was like, well, I don't think I should be teaching people unless I'm educated in this, along with like people teaching business that aren't educated in business. Right. And so I was like, let me dive into this. And so went off to university, took religion and theology. I mean, I took a bunch of psych courses and stuff while I was there as well, and so that helped with what I do now. But yeah, became a pastor for like 10 years.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Yeah, and
yeah,
that I had no idea.
see, it's
Very cool.
yeah.
And then, we know each other through racing. So
Mhm.
did you become a fan of racing once you connected with Alex, or were you a fan of racing beforehand and, now you get more of the behind the scenes?
Yeah, so definitely. People that are watching your show right now, Colin, are going to hate me because I hated racing. I think
Okay.
it's so stupid because I
Well,
was
this
like,
isn't a racing show. This is a
all right,
behind the scenes show.
all
So,
right.
I talk about racing and, obviously that's still a big part of my life, but this is, so far we've really kind of talked about the business of what you do in the behind the scenes and kind of how
Yeah,
you got to where you're at. But no,
all
if people are going to hate that quickly, then,
right.
that's more of an indication on who they are than who you are.
Sounds good. Yeah, so I hated it. I was like, I'd only ever watch it on TV. Yeah,
They just go round and round.
that's it. I'm like, they only turn left. I turn right every day. I'm
Yeah.
pretty good. Maybe I should be a driver. And so You know, I had gone to the drag strip and stuff before and watched them drifting and stuff, and that was cool, but it was never like I got into it, you know. Maybe watching Fast and the Furious. I drove my car a little faster on the way home, but I got a call from a lady who was my agent back then. Her husband was a mentalist as well. He actually got hired to do the 22 Racing Christmas party,
Okay.
and he lived in Toronto. And I can only imagine when he heard Milverton, he was like, "Where the heck is that? There's no way I'm driving there. Forget it." Right. So he called me and was like, "Hey, do you want to do it?" So I said, "Sure. Yeah, I don't have anything." I was moving to Vegas like 2 or 3 days later. And so I had a call with Scott that afternoon. And to be honest, I didn't want to go to the event after talking to Scott because Scott was hounding me like, "Why aren't you booked already? Everybody else is booked and stuff. You must not be good," kind of thing.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
and I was like, don't you worry, bud. Like, I'm gonna kill this, you
Yeah.
know." But I didn't also know that it was a NASCAR team. So I thought it was, they just told me you're going to an auto garage. So all I'm thinking is like thinking of taking my car to the shop, and it's gonna be oil everywhere. It's gonna be a mess, you know.
I
People are
think you probably ended up pleasantly surprised because the 22 Racing shop
100%. Yeah.
is, not quite operating room clean, but
It's pretty immaculate. Yeah. I walked in in the
if I
shop.
needed first aid there, I wouldn't feel too worried that I was going to get an infection.
100%. And that's the whole thing. I was like, people are gonna be touching the props that I bring. They're gonna get them dirty and stuff. I was like, there's gonna be the smell of gas so much. I'm gonna be like, oh, my brain hurts afterwards. And it was the total opposite.
Yeah.
And did the show, got a standing ovation. They absolutely loved it. Scott immediately booked me for the following year. He's like, "We want you back next year." And so the following year, I called Scott and I said, "You guys have seen what I do for a living. Can I come and see what you guys do for a living?" Because now I knew Alex and I knew Mark was driving then, and now I'm going to forget the other guy's name.
Donald.
Donald was driving as well. And so I knew all of them because I had done routines and stuff with them or demonstrations with them. And so I went out. I think Canadian Tire Motorsport was my first race.
Oh, wow.
I was not ready for the extreme heat sitting on the hill. I think I posted a picture. It's probably still on social media where you seem like me when I got there to me when I went home, and I was like as red as your shirt.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, I got destroyed. But that race, Alex was in first place until like 3 laps to go, and I was so pumped. I was like, man, I come to my first race and Alex wins this. This is gonna be crazy. And then a part blew out. There's a metal box right beside the seat. And I remember looking at the car after, and it hit some sprocket or something. It sheared right through. And like, he's lucky it didn't hit him. It probably would have given
That
him
was a
a
drive mechanism that came off of Gary Klut's car, bounced, hit the car, like hit the grill,
Yeah.
knocked out the rad, came up, went over the roof. There was a gaping hole in the roof. Yeah, that one still the Canadian Tire owes us a couple of
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've watched
we've
a
had some
couple
bad
races
ones.
there.
Yeah.
um,
But
yeah.
imagine as hot as you were sitting outside on the hill, how hot it is in the car
Oh
when
yeah.
you've got a helmet, a balaclava, fire suit, and all that engine and transmission heat.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was absolutely nuts. And so I learned my lesson that time. And now I come prepared for races. But when I met Anya, I took her to a race, and she absolutely fell in love with it. And which was, you know, she never watched any sports. Now I think I've taken her to pretty much every sporting event
Yeah.
known to man. But so she loves it, and she became friends with Bronte, and Eva Rose was our flower girl in our wedding. And stuff, and so yeah,
Oh,
we are now a driving family.
Miss Eva Rose just turned 9 here, whatever that was, on Tuesday. So
Yeah, crazy.
got to have a little chat with them.
Nice.
So I'm gonna put the call out now. If you can
Yeah.
send us notes, I mean, I'm happy to play along until somebody jumps on board. We haven't had anyone shoot a text. We got a bunch of people watching right now. if you're interested, you can send us a note on the chat. I haven't got a lot of notes on the chat lately, so I don't know. Maybe there's something disconnected. If that's not working, you can send me an email directly if you want to play along. Colin@cantorque.com, spelled CANTORQUE. Do you want to try and play along with me here first, or do you want to wait and see if we can get someone to
Yeah,
bite the bullet?
we can give it a minute if you want as well. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, again, I want to try and make sure that people know that this is not staged. But if you want to play along with me until we get a note, somebody wants to play along, we'll bring you live in here. There's just a quick link, and you'll be able to engage directly with Ryan. Which I also got a text from Amanda. You've met my girlfriend.
Yep.
She's apparently on her way, but I have the shop all locked up. So if I can turn you over to somebody else, I'm going to go quickly run and unlock the door.
That's awesome. She's locked outside. It's pouring rain. You're
No. She won't be here for another half an hour or so. We've got to go to an engagement with my kids, but pending that, you and I can play along. And we'll just go from there.
Sounds good. Well, let's try this. See if you can see it. I'll get you to name a number between 1 and 100.
Okay.
You can name it out loud.
Physically say it. Okay. 87.
87. Do you want to change your mind?
Do not.
Are you sure?
100%.
I just don't want you thinking that I knew Sidney Crosby, 87, favorite player. Maybe you'd go there.
That's not the relevance, but that's not my connection to that number.
Nice. So I knew I was coming on tonight, and so I made some notes in my notepad. So I made a list of locations, and I'll see if we can see this.
And I'm also going to maximize your window here.
There we go. So let's see.
It's a little blown out. I can't read it.
Let me do this. Alexa, turn off desk lamp. Let's see if that helps. Let me turn my brightness down a little bit as well. I gotta go back up. There we go.
I might need my glass. You can clearly tell that this was not pre-established because
and now
waiting. I saw him before. No, I can't make anything out there.
Wow, it did. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
So we'll go down to 87.
Yeah.
And can you read out what that one says?
I'm trying. I've just got blur right now.
A little closer.
83, 87, Iceland.
Okay. So then I went back and I made a list of celebrities. Sorry. These are top 100 celebrities. So we've got some living, some dead. So we got like Michael Jackson, Tom Hanks, Kim Kardashian.
Yep.
I'm not sure how she's on the list, but she had to be. So we'll go down to 87. And can you read out who that one is?
Vince Vaughn.
That's a good choice. Then I went back and I made a list of grocery items, top 100 things people buy at the grocery store. So rice, apples, orange juice, milk, eggs, sugar. We'll go down to 87. And you can see every single one is different. Can you read out what 87
says pizza? Everything's backwards on my way too.
Yeah, I see that as well. So we've got
Iceland, Vince Vaughn, pizza.
And pizza. So no way that I could have known you were going to pick 87, correct?
There's no way.
No way. And you could have changed your mind.
I could have.
But you decided not to. And so before we started any of this, what I did was I went on my Instagram, probably about 20 minutes or so before the show started. I went on Instagram and I posted a story. Do you have your cell phone there?
I do.
Can you go on Instagram?
I can try.
I'll pull it up on my end if
okay.
Not.
Yeah, I got it.
Awesome. So when you're on mine, if you go to mentalism.ca, you'll see that I've got a little ring around the picture of myself up at the top. If
I could type, it would be more effective.
So you can absolutely tell. Yeah. Otherwise, I would have had him preset already on mentalism.ca. But.
Yeah, I just loaded it. Make sure you turn in tonight.
Awesome. There you go. So if you press that one more time, you'll see the last story I posted.
Vince Vaughn eating pizza in Iceland. It just it went away, but it was there.
And you'll be able to see it is time-stamped as well, so you can see 40 minutes ago. That's what I posted.
It's awesome.
So
awesome.
Usually, if I'm live with people, we won't go through the list. I'll just ask them to name things, but that's why it just makes it easier when people are put on the spot to have a list. Because if I said to you, like, sometimes name a location, people take too long on camera, although the lighting in here took too long. um, but so that's why I post celebrities in funny places eating different things. So
But there's so many.
yeah, oh yeah, I do a
It's
different
so
one all the
many.
time. That's where my influencing people and getting them to do what I want them to do comes in handy. So
I love it. What do we need to do to get you into a race car?
I've been asking for years.
Really?
Every Christmas party I've done, I said to Scott, Scott, if I get this right tonight, like I try to make something super impossible at the end of every show, and I say, Scott, if I get this right tonight, I get to race a car. I said, I just want to even do a few laps just to try it out. Get the taste for it. I said, I think I could be okay at this. I like adrenaline and stuff, and every year Scott has said, yeah, okay, sure, or no, I'm not betting that. And so he's never let me.
Compared to most activities, driving a Pinty's car is definitely not cheap.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
if somebody makes a mistake, it's really, really not cheap. But I can, I keep telling you, you've kind of danced around Edmonton. We've been down in Calgary, down in Banff, just in Saskatchewan. You make your way out here. At the very least, I can get you a few laps in a go-kart,
Sweet, sweet.
and you'll have a different appreciation.
Oh yeah.
Um, do you want to try any other?
Yeah, we can do something else.
I'm still like, I've got no email and no one's commented. We got
Oh man.
75 people watching right now.
Ladies
I
and
can't
gentlemen, let me get inside your minds. Come on.
I wanna show like how, like, I mean, that was super awesome. I wanna show if we can get somebody to just shoot a note, and I can drop you a link and you can jump on again. Clearly this is not set up. We're not feigning that nobody's watching at the moment, so that I can just secretly activate the screen here. But if not, I can keep guinea pigging. Like, what was supposed to happen, I was supposed to be at my buddy's studio. So they're an electronics dealer, they're an Apple dealer, the first Apple dealer in Canada. He's built a studio in what was their training room. So they've got like a 3 camera setup, like the lighting's great. They've got all this stuff. Like, it doesn't really apply to me doing a podcast, but it's it's a great setup. So I was going to get Daryl to kind of sit. We had kind of this lounge concept where I could kind of sit at the desk. He could kind of be more relaxed, and we'd be able to go back and forth that way. But
Nice. Well,
unfortunately,
I mean, your setup still looks great. Mine looks terrible right now. I usually have a full setup with lighting and stuff like that, but because we just got back from Saskatchewan, we took almost everything over there to shoot stuff for
oh,
the
okay.
show at the casino, and so not everything is with me. Some of the stuff is with the other guys that I brought, and so I didn't get a chance to set up, and I felt bad because I know you were at the studio. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Come on,
Yeah.
and I got the worst food poisoning. I've never
Yeah.
really had food poisoning first. I didn't see it coming. My mentalism powers didn't work. It was I had done like a 14-hour day getting ready for the Peak Leadership Summit. I was getting all the graphics and videos and stuff ready for that. And I was like late, and it was like 10 or 11 o'clock. I was like, I'm going to go and grab a burrito. And I woke up the next day throwing up, running a fever. Excuse me.
I remember.
Just horrendous. It's the worst I've ever felt. Like I was like, okay, I'll lay on the couch for a while. I'll be okay by night. And I messaged you in the afternoon. I was like, Colin, I think I got to cancel, which
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never canceled anything.
Well,
Other than,
you said you were willing to do it.
yeah,
I said, like, let's just wait until, because I don't want it to, kind of be forced, and I don't want it to, especially didn't want to put you out and, have you like, again, let's not kid ourselves. There's not 9 million people watching this show. But no, I mean, I appreciated the effort, but I want to get back to something you just said a minute ago. Let's be really clear here. We're talking about mentalism. You're not a psychic.
no,
This isn't like the JoJo and Friends network here.
I actually have a show that I debunk psychics. It's called Oracle. I used to call it Psychic, but I think people thought that they were going to be coming to a psychic show. which is good and bad because I want to debunk it for those people that are coming. But I also thought it may eliminate some people that were like, oh, I don't want to see a psychic. So change the name to Oracle now. But yeah, it's a show that debunks psychics, and I don't kind of teach what they do. I do teach a little bit, but I kind of show a little bit of behind the curtains of like what could be done to manipulate people when in vulnerable situations to believe a psychic. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, in magic, in mentalism, it's called misdirection. In the psychic world, it's just called manipulation.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I actually got a call today, and I mean, maybe they're watching this. Who knows? But they called me for an event, and they were like, "Oh yeah, there will be tarot card readers and stuff there." And I was like, "Nah, you don't want me there."
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
have to send them an email tonight, being like, "I looked into this. It's not really for me," because I literally debunk those people. I'm like, it's not real. So I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it couldn't be real. Maybe there's the odd person that maybe it is real somehow, way, shape, or form. But from everything I've learned and all the people that have taken advantage of people over the years, to me, it's fake.
There shouldn't be money have to be exchanged for that to actually work.
Yeah.
Howard Stern, I don't know if you listen to Howard or not. He had oh, now I can't think of who it was. It was a famous actress. She came into the studio. They talked about it. She had a terminal illness. Like they knew she wasn't going to last. She probably had another year or two. She gave him a word, and they've had psychic after psychic come in to try, and he even said, like, I'll pay you $10,000 if you can tell me what this word was that we
Yep.
exchanged. And then it always starts with like, okay, so tell me a little bit about the person, tell me this. And then it's like, well, I'm seeing a color. I think it's green. It could have been maybe blue. Was it blue? No, yellow was, yeah, yellow. That's a combination of blue and green. But like it was so funny, and they
Yeah.
never got
Yeah.
anywhere
Right.
near what the word was.
Oh, there's still a so there's a group. Amazing Randy, I think, was the one that started it. And I'm gonna forget the name of it now. But anyway, it's basically like a challenge to all psychics. They have an envelope with something in the envelope on a paper, and if anyone can tell them what it is, at one point it was $1 million that they'd
Yeah.
win. And so it's been years and years and years, and no one has ever even come up to try it. I don't think, or haven't come close to it because. And that was the thing. I did a very famous psychic's birthday one year. She was retiring and been doing it for like 30 or 40 years and was like world renowned psychic. And so I did a routine where I had something in an envelope. And let's just say like I had like this piece of paper with some stuff filled out. And I said to her, I said, I have a piece of paper. I'm going to put it inside the envelope, just so that no one sees what it says. But of course, you already know, so there's probably no point of even doing the routine for you, right? Because you already know what it says. And I did the routine, and she was absolutely blown away, like freaking out. And I was like, "Why are you freaking out? If you're psychic,
Yeah.
you would know ahead. Like you'd already know if that's what you're claiming to be able to do."
You set it up the whole way though, that
Oh
you got her. It was a female,
yeah,
and you got her to disclose all of her skills and all of her abilities. So if I wrote something on a piece of paper, you would clearly be able to tell me what it says.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's awesome.
totally like. I, Not that I made fun of her there, but I kind of put her on the spot a little bit to be. And I was young. I was like 20 years old probably, but I
Yeah.
was like, I don't care. I was like, I think this is stupid. And so I was like, you're a psychic. You should know what this says already. And so I made her make all these random decisions. And then all those random decisions were on the paper, which, if I'm walking her through that, she should already know what's going to be on the paper. But
Yeah.
yeah, she was blown away. So
Do you want to try another example?
yeah, yeah, we could do something else. So let me do this. Let me try this. I'm going to send you an email tonight. So I haven't done this in a while, but I've been talking to you for a little bit. We've been 40 minutes, so I feel like I know you now, Colin, better than I knew you before, which I think I knew you decently well before.
That's
So
interesting because I've been asking all the questions, but
I know, but I see how your brain works, like which directions you go with questions. Let me see if you're Colin. What's your email actually? I don't know if it's
Colin, Colin.
yep.
And everybody else, you can also send the email if you're interested
Send
in
an email.
jumping on with Ryan. So Colin at Cantorque,
Yep.
CantorQue.com.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. I just sent you that email.
Okay.
Make sure you got the email. Just don't open the email yet. So just make sure that you
Okay.
got it.
I don't have anything open. I got the notification from Mentalist Ryan Edwards.
Perfect.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep some notes. There we go on my notepad, just because we're going to get random. And this is a great one. If someone wants to hop on or throw something in the chat, I'm going to ask some random questions. So chat away, because we'll just take the best answer. So let's imagine you could travel anywhere in the world. Actually, let's say Alex is paying for it. So it's absolutely scot-free.
Well, tying Alex and Scott into the same
There
sentence. That's interesting. I travel enough by myself.
there you go.
I'm not sure that I'd want Alex buying my flight, but I know I understand. So you need me to pick a place that if I go anywhere and money
Anywhere
was
in the
no
world.
object.
Yeah, there's no price. It's
Okay.
absolutely free. Where are you going?
I'm going to Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta. Wow. Okay. Puerto. If I can spell it right, there we go. Puerto Vallarta. Perfect. So you get that. Probably spelled wrong, but Puerto Vallarta.
Yep.
Um,
See?
so you're there, and a celebrity walks by. You're hanging out on the beach. I know you're a diver, so you're getting ready to go diving, and a celebrity walks by, and you totally fanboy it up, calling, you're screaming, ah!
That is me.
I know it sounds exactly like you. I worked on it really hard this week. Um, and someone can chat in. I don't see the chat on my end, so I can't see it. But
And I'm if somebody popped in, I still haven't seen it, but
okay, sounds good. So, oh, okay, yeah, messages from audience. Yeah, it's weird. I can't believe that no one has chatted in, but that's so. Anyways, let's do it this way. Celebrity walks by. What's the name of the celebrity?
today we'll say it's Alyssa Milano.
Alyssa Milano. Nice. Okay. Perfect. So we've got Puerto Vallarta and Melissa Milano. So she walks by, obviously fanboying it up.
Clearly.
She's from Who's the Boss, right?
She was, yep.
Yeah, way back. That's taking me to my childhood. That was like I was probably just old enough to watch that at that point.
I was just the right age.
You were just the right age, I was gonna say. Um, so she walks by, fanboy it up, and you guys hit it off. And she says, Colin, you're so nice. Let me take you for dinner. Now, you could go to any restaurant you want in the entire world. It doesn't have to be there because she's got a jet. You're going to fly there. It could be sit down, it could be fast food. It's up to you. Where are you going to eat?
We're going to Esperanza and Cabo San Lucas.
Esperanza.
Yep.
I like it. Esperanza. Perfect. So we got again that we are in Puerto Vallarta. We are with Alyssa Milano, and we are going to Esperanza. I like it. You got nice choices. I love it. I love
If
it.
you've ever been to Esperanza, you'd know I'd go there.
Well, I have not. I've not, but I'm gonna put it on my list.
Yeah, you are.
So let's do this. Let's imagine that you're there. You sit down for dinner with her. You're having a great time. You guys could order anything. It does not have to be on their menu because you're with her. They're going to make it special. So if you
Yep.
wanted a Big Mac at the end of the day, they're going to make you a Big Mac. What are you getting to eat?
I am that's a good question. For whatever reason in my head, I'm gonna get chicken parm.
Chicken parm. I like that. Good choice. And do you have a side of anything with it?
Oh, pasta, of course.
All right. With a side of pasta. Perfect. Awesome. So we got that you are in Puerto Vallarta with Alyssa Milano. You're going to the Esperanza restaurant and you're getting chicken parm with a side of pasta.
Perfect.
Now, Colin, that was some pretty random stuff.
Yep.
And to you, you didn't know what those answers were going to be, 5 minutes ago, because you didn't know what any of the questions were.
No, the only thing I was thinking is that Alyssa's going to get in trouble from her husband, and
Yeah.
if Mandy's watching, I'm going to get in trouble, from her. But this is a theoretical experience because everyone knows,
Theoretical, it's all made up.
Mandy's pretty famous in the science teacher community,
Nice.
but we can't call her a celebrity.
All right. All right. Next time. She's
Next time,
in there.
maybe.
She's in there. Well, the thing is, I knew what questions I was going to ask you. And so maybe I already knew those answers. And that's why I sent you an email before I asked you any of those questions.
Is it
Can,
is
can
it
you read
time?
out, yeah, can you read out that email?
I will read out the email now. Obviously, I didn't. If I would have read the email beforehand, I would have known what answers to avoid. But I had a dream last night that I was in Puerto Vallarta for the weekend. I met the superstar Alyssa Milano. I took them out for dinner at Esperanza restaurant and we ordered chicken parm with a side of pasta. It was delicious. That was
I
sent
would
at
say
5:43 my time. It is now 5:49.
I would say that was all correct.
I'm also going to take a
I
screenshot
was
of
gonna
this
say screenshot that.
myself. I just have to figure out how to upload that to this server. Okay, hold on. I actually have a chat and I bet you
Nice,
I
you go.
know who that is. Yeah, of course, that's Amanda who's chiming in. So I
Yeah.
know if you're watching on YouTube, you can definitely send me a note. I think the majority of people are watching on Twitter, which I'm not sure if they can actually message, but of course,
Okay. That might be why.
um, you can still send me an email, just as you saw Ryan did, colin@cantork.com. Let me upload this picture. I wish I was better at multitasking like this, where I can just kind of do things in the background without seeming like I'm distracted. I am clearly distracted as I'm doing this stuff
No worries.
because I have to get to the one folder that my screenshots come to. For some reason, it's not letting me add that in this format. Oh, because sorry, I did the wrong thing. I was trying to add it as a video clip,
Ah,
not as a picture. There we go. We need to go to, again, I promise if we had prepared this, it would be a lot more seamless. Here is the screenshot. We're going to open it up. I'm going to throw it up the second it loads.
there we go.
So 5:43, that's Mountain Standard Time. I had a dream last night that I was in Puerto Vallarta for the weekend. I met superstar Alyssa Milano, took them out for dinner at Esperanza restaurant. We ordered chicken parm with a side of pasta. It was delicious.
Boom. Do you hate me yet?
I No, I mean if you hated racing didn't turn me off, not a
Yeah.
big deal.
I said now I'm a huge fan. Like, I wouldn't say I watch it on TV still. I further much enjoy, being at the race. But I think it also took it to a new level, like knowing the guys that were driving the cars. Like,
But that's what racing needs. It's
yeah,
if I didn't know who you were and Mentalist Ryan Edwards is going to be performing somewhere down the street, I probably wouldn't walk in the door. But
yep,
obviously, once you know what it is and how it goes, let me throw a video up here. I don't know if we can talk over it. I'm trying a
yeah,
different thing. So this is one of my videos. This has nothing to do with mentalism. This is my in helmet video from last week at Sonoma Raceway, and just see, like, this is in a shifter cart
yep,
on the back straightaway. So what you're going to see is just one lap. So it's going to start with me coming out of the last corner. This go-kart, we shift gears.
Yeah.
So from first to sixth, in this case, we start in third gear up to sixth gear on the front straightaway. By the time we get to the end of the front straight, we're doing 84 miles an hour. So
Okay.
145, 147K.
Nice.
So let's see. I've not done this before. I'm going to see. There's a way I can preload videos in one part of the software, and it cuts out the mics, but we might be able to talk over this here. So let me
Sounds
see
good.
what we can do. So this is the wrong video. This is still from last week. This is at a track called Dixon. So this is the test track. You can still hear pulling gears, but the thing to kind of focus on is how wobbly the video is, and just
Yeah.
understand that that's my head.
Yeah. I was about to say the same thing. I was like, oh, you gotta hold your head.
I just have a big bump that I avoided. So
Yeah.
that's the first one, and then I got to figure out how to do this because there's a second one that's I think is way cooler. Is the video I did from Sonoma. Again, preparation, my strong suit. I've got everything loaded in the right folders. I just don't
Yeah.
do this an awful lot. This is the more I think this is the better video to kind of show what's going on here. So let's just this is the one I kind of set up. Don't need all that volume. This is the front straightaway. Start from the line. Down to third gear. I was 84 miles an hour. This is a complex called back. Oh, bumpy as hell. That if you made a little travel mistake, it just told you. This part of the track, I never really nailed this little chicane, but every little bit, they're telling us the track walk, and they tell us like we're down to the millimeter of where we need to point the cart, what we need to do.
Yeah. That
Like
was pretty crazy. It was almost like
this is easy high speed, heart rate control, and that's basically that raceway. And even I want to see if I can drag this back as I'm running up the front straightaway. This dude
oh
is
yeah, there's
just
just
like
a dude walking.
randomly walking at the
I
side of
didn't
the
even notice
track.
that the first time.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
crazy. So yeah, you actually had to kind of come off the corner, clip this inside, get to the start finish line, and then right out to the curb. This was not my best lap by any stretch of the imagination, but we'll get rid of
Oh,
that
that's good.
now. You think you want to jump into a go-kart?
Hey, I'll do it. I went over to Alex's track there in Montreal.
Yeah.
I was just over there. When was it? A couple months back now, I guess, like March, end of February. Let's see, because I went up there. There was the AEW wrestling events, and so I had met a couple of the AEW wrestlers, and they were like, "Oh, come and shoot some content and stuff with us." So I called Bronte, said, "Hey, we're coming down, me and my two videographers," and she's like, "Come by the track." And I had been there before a couple times, so I said, "Sure, yeah, I'd love to." So I brought the two guys. We did one race. The one guy drove so slow, like he was like a grandma on the course. Like I lapped him like three times. I'm like, dude, what's the matter with you? Like, he's a big like musician as well, like sound engineer, like works for these huge bands. I was like, this guy's gonna go crazy in this car.
Yeah.
And
It looks so much easier than what it is though.
he was so intimidated. Like he was like going so slow, like braking at every corner and stuff. Me and the other guy were going nuts. So I actually finished with, because I don't love how Alex's track does like the first place is the best lap time. because I'm always like, let's start off all together, and then whoever wins the race, right?
The
I'm
tough
like,
thing, at a track like Alex's though, is that it's not a racetrack.
there's
It's
not a lot
not.
of room to pass. No, for
Yeah.
sure. But if you can pass, then I mean that just makes you the better driver, right? So,
or
so
or you've got more mass and you knock somebody out of the
yeah,
field.
exactly. So I finished second in that race, and I was like, "Oh, this is junk." I was like, "There's no way." Like I smoked the other guy as well, but he had one lap that was like a second faster than one of mine. So I was like, "All right." So
Second is a lot.
well, it may not have been a second, but yeah, very small amount. He beat me by. So I said, "Okay, let's do the second race." So we only had like 10 minutes between races. And so I said, the next one, we're all lining up. We're coming out of the gate. There's only three of us driving. We're going to line up straight across and we're going to start. And so that one, I lit everybody up. Like I actually won by a few seconds and smoked the previous times. But my buddy got so sick. He got motion
From the
sickness.
motion, yeah.
Yeah, because it's so much turning and stuff. The guy that plays second, the guy that drove slow, there's no way he could get sick. He was driving that slow. But my buddy ended up like he got up and he's like, "I need you to take my helmet off. Take my helmet off." And took it off, and he's just sweating. He ran to the bathroom, was puking his brains out, was puking for probably an hour, hour and a half later, still throwing up. Like we went to the wrestling event. He finally finished throwing up just before we got there. And yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that again. He's like, it was so much fun, but he's like, I just wrecked myself. So
And where that, a lot of that comes from, the the input that you're putting, like, as you turn, the cart doesn't turn.
doesn't
It
turn. Yeah.
it slides a bit, like, and we're talking like tenths of a second, and then it goes, and your
Yeah.
brain starts to figure like, "Okay, I'm gonna be turning, so I'm gonna be going this way," and then all of a sudden you're going this way. When your brain isn't really in sync with what your hands are doing, in real cars, it's way less common to get motion sick than,
Yeah.
I've actually got a motion simulator at the shop here. So
Okay.
when like a lot of people get in that, and like my father-in-law, the second he sat in it, we weren't even like rolling down pit road. He's like, "No, I can't do it." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I'm going to be sick."
Yeah.
Getting back to what you said though, you need to come out to the other track at Mount Tremblant and try and do a go-kart race,
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be sick. I,
because
I've, I've
whoever finishes first there, your finishing position is your position. So if
nice.
you wanna give it a shot, what you're gonna need to do though, because it takes a long time to get the skill, you need to go through and mess with everyone's heads first so that, they get to turn one thinks he's a chicken, then,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
somebody turns around and drives into the grass. That's
That's
kind of
it.
where it needs to go, but
I'm hardcore too. Like so I used to work for a magic company like 15 years ago, and we went out to film, and so I brought the guys out. We went go karting, and I absolutely smoked them. But I was a jerk driver too. Like I'd wait. I was so far ahead. I'd stop in the middle of the road, let people catch up, then pass them again. And then I remember I was going around this really sharp corner, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna screw the two guys behind me," and I just slammed on my brakes, and they collided and wiped out, and I took off. I was like, so I got tricks up my sleeves.
you'll need them, especially if you get into some of our classes. But Ryan, I want to thank you. This was really, really cool. For anyone who's watching, obviously people were pretty shy today. Everybody, maybe thought that you were going to reprogram their circuitry or something like that. Where do people like? Where are you going to be performing, and where do people find your act?
Yeah, so mentalism.ca everywhere. That's my website. All my social media is mentalism.ca. I just got back from the Regina Casino, so we're planning some more stuff with them. It went amazing. So they actually told me that they're good friends with the people over at the Edmonton Casino, and I just got a call today for an event out in Alberta as well in November. So might be out your way sooner than later, which is good. But
Well,
yeah,
November's a ways down the road,
it's a
but
ways away,
I'll
but
still
that'll
be
come
here.
quick. That'll become quick. So, but do you want to try one last thing to
Yeah,
end the night?
absolutely. If you got it set up, let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's do it. Grab your cell phone, open up your calculator.
Okay.
Because people will say to me like, "Oh, you must have done things that can only be done on the computer or something." Everybody at home that's watching this right now, grab your cell phone, grab your calculator.
I'm not even unlocking my phone. I'm gonna
Perfect. So, Colin, name any number you want.
any number I want.
Yep,
Uh 37.
37. So everybody type 37 and hit times. Now, I saw Amanda was on. Let's see if Amanda will name a number.
Is she watching,
Comment it in
Mandy?
the
Can you
chat.
shoot us a number?
If not, I'll grab another one off you as well, Colin. So name any number. We'll get a few. We're gonna get a bunch actually. So
Okay, 99.
what's your cart number?
It's 87, but we already used
Oh,
that
we
one.
already used 87.
So we'll say 99. Wayne Gretzky.
99.
You're coming to Edmonton. He's
It's
still
my
looking.
hometown, right? Well, I live in Brantford right now, so 99. Awesome. So hit equals. So we should have 3,663. Yes.
Correct?
Let's go times. Um, what's Alex's new number this year? Because he won't be
I
going.
don't know.
Oh, all right.
I don't know. In NASCAR, I think we're going to run the 80.
Okay, so let's go 80 and go equals. So we have 293,040. Yeah. Let's go times. Oh, Amanda says 23. Awesome. So 23 and then hit equals. So we should have 6,739,920. Yes.
Yep.
Let's go times. Colin, do you remember what your best lap time was last week?
I actually do.
Okay, what was that?
51.17
Okay,
seconds.
so let's keep it easy. Let's just go 51.
Okay.
So let's go times 50.
I like rounding it down. That sounds
I
quicker.
like it too, right? It's better. And
Times
go,
51.
yep, and go equals. Okay, so we should have 343,735,940. Yes?
Yep. Yep.
Let's hit minus because that's huge. And Colin, we're going to do this. I'm going to take my cell phone calculator. I'm going to turn it like this. You can see right here. Oh, it went to scientific mode. There we go. I'm going to turn it upside down like this. And take one finger. I'm going to start button mashing.
Okay.
All right. Whenever you want, you say stop. I'm going to button mash. Let's not get too far.
Stop.
Okay, I'm going to stop there because we're going to get too many numbers. So yeah, we got a bunch. So go minus 301 911 113
Okay.
and hit equals. So
41, 824, 807.
Yes. Okay. 41,824,807. Now, people always ask me, Ryan, how did you get into mentalism? And it wasn't by seeing a mentalist at all. You didn't ask me that question, Colin, but I'm going to tell you anyways. When I was a child, I was actually put into a special class because I couldn't read and write. I was like way far behind the other kids, and I was kind of always picked on as like the dumb kid. And so I think that's probably what inspired me a little bit. But in that class, I learned about that guy right there, Albert Einstein. And Einstein said to become smarter, you need to practice thinking. And I thought, what does that mean? We practice thinking all the time. Everything we do, we're thinking. But after thinking about it, we really don't. Most of the day, we're on autopilot. We get up, we go to the bathroom, we brush our teeth, we wash our face. That's autopilot. We don't even think about those things. If I said to you, Colin, how are you today?
Magically delicious.
Magically delicious. Well, that's the best answer I've got yet. But most people say good or great or fine, something along those lines, because they don't have to think about it. It's autopilot. So he said every single number has a meaning and a purpose. Now, you said we don't have 9 million people, so we definitely don't have 41,824,807 people watching, because that would be nuts. And I would have been puking, but I still would have been on 2 weeks ago if I was going to let 41 million people down. It's not the number of hairs on people's heads here. You've got way more than I do. I'm receding. It's not the number of shows I've done, but it is getting closer.
Okay.
But Colin, today is the 4th month. It's the 18th day of the 24th year. And if you were in Eastern Standard Time right now, the time is 8:07. Well,
Absolutely awesome, Ryan.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me on, man. It was a blast. I can't wait to see you guys this summer, and hopefully, I'll only see you at road courses though. So I guess so. I'll have to get out to some extra road courses.
Unless you come out west during a go-kart race and we
There
can
you
have
go.
you out
Well,
there.
I might be out there this summer. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, hopefully somebody's going to see this, and Ryan is for hire. His in-person show, I can say categorically, is amazing. Um, I always like to say you won't believe it because it's so awesome. But Ryan, thank you so much for your time. Always great chatting with you. We will see you a few times this year. Hopefully,
Definitely.
our races don't conflict with the paid gigs because that's the
Mhm.
most important. But and again, for everyone trying to find Ryan, mentalism.ca.
Yeah. Excellent. That's it.
Okay,
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much.
say
Well,
hi to
hopefully
the
this was a
family, and we'll
will
look
do,
forward to seeing you soon.
and vice versa. Take it easy.
Okay, man. See you later.
Peace. Bye.
I just love it. That's so awesome. Absolutely random collection of numbers that worked into a very cool closing here. Thanks, Ryan. I'm getting short on time here. We've got a personal event for my kids here tonight, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. As always, Colin at cantork.com. Send me your comments. Send me your questions. You want to know about the inner workings of business. You want to know about my exposure to racing. Happy to answer anything, anytime. Next week should be back with another live show. We will be planning to go back to the Westward studio, find out how they're making out over there, and another great guest coming up. We'll see you next week.